Have you ever met someone so good at having fun that it made you question whether or not you've ever actually had fun yourself? Like, they're belly laughing on a regular basis, they're dancing in the kitchen, they're planning spontaneous road trips, and you're over here calculating how much joy you can afford without falling behind in seemingly every other area of life. Yeah, that was me. Then I was brick slapped during a conversation that felt like a gentle goodbye. One of those slow motion, this is probably the end talks you know you're going to replay in your head for at least 6 months. She looked at me and said, "You're too serious all the time. You don't let yourself have fun." And I remember sitting there, stunned, because in my mind, I was fun. I mean, I laughed, I joked around, I watched dumb YouTube videos just like anyone else. But what she said stirred something deeper in me. It wasn't just about goofiness or lightheartedness. It was about the version of me that didn't know how to feel safe unless everything seemingly was under control. Hello. Welcome to the Wolverine Lifestyle Podcast, where personal growth meets deep thought and introspection. I am your host, Dylan Andres, and in this episode, we are exploring my personal journey through the journal prompt, identifying patterns. What patterns do you notice in your relationships? How do they relate to your inner child's wounds? Let's start right here. With the relationship that cracked the door open on a pattern I didn't want to admit that I had. She told me I was too serious, that I didn't let myself have fun. And at first, I felt attacked because from the outside, I did all of the fun things. I joked, I socialized. I wasn't just sitting in a corner writing philosophy with a furrowed brow 24/7, but deep down, her words twisted something in my gut. And that has always been my cue. When I feel defensiveness, it usually means something that was said or mentioned wasn't entirely wrong. She was just hitting something tender. And the more I sat with it, the more I realized it was true. I had built a life around earning joy. If everything else was done, then maybe I could allow myself something enjoyable. If I checked off all the boxes, if I was productive enough, then, and only then, could I let myself rest or play, which meant that joy was always something that was a reward and never something that was a right. These patterns didn't come from nowhere. They have origin stories. For me, it went back to my inner child. Like you, I had moments as a kid when I was joyful, expressive, carefree, and then immediately made to feel stupid. Maybe it was a sarcastic comment from a peer, or the silent judgment I felt in a room. Or maybe it was growing up in a space where alcohol was a big presence. And with that came unpredictability. As a kid, you learn to stay on guard, to be prepared, to dial back your joy so you don't invite the chaos. So I became cautious, hyper-aware, a mini strategist. And without even knowing it, I started believing that letting go, being spontaneous, playful, present, was dangerous. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, the author of The Body Keeps Score, talks about how trauma changes the way we perceive pleasure. We stop trusting joy. We stop believing in ease because ease was never modeled as safe. So what did I do? I attracted relationships with women who embodied what I couldn't yet allow myself to be. They were fun, they were joyful, light, and in the beginning, I admired it. But as the relationship deepened, I also resisted it because it mirrored everything I felt ashamed about inside of myself. And that's the wild part. The same pattern showed up in multiple relationships. Different faces, the same energy. Each one in their own way revealed the same wound. I was robbing myself of my own joy. I wasn't doing it consciously. I wasn't waking up in the morning thinking, let me make today as emotionally rigid as possible. But I was making decisions based on a belief I hadn't confronted, that I didn't deserve fun, that there was always something more responsible I should be doing, that joy made me less credible, less grounded, less masculine. And the wild thing is, these women weren't sent to fix me. They were mirrors. They were lessons. They were invitations to remember what I was withholding from myself. Then came my current relationship. This woman, she's something else. She challenges me in ways I didn't expect, not by demanding change, not at all, but simply by being and embodying joy, being present, being a space of lightness that my inner child desperately needed permission to return to. We can sit for hours talking about the cosmos or human behavior and then turn around and spend the next hour cracking up over silly cat or duck videos on YouTube. No pressure to perform, no pressure to be impressive, just being. But I'll be honest, it wasn't and still isn't always easy, because being with someone that is safe means that all the ways I've kept myself busy to avoid vulnerability come up to the surface on a very regular basis. My rigidity gets exposed. My resistance to spontaneity gets called out, and it's uncomfortable. But it's also healing, because we don't heal in isolation. We heal in relationships. And sometimes the best therapy doesn't look like lying on a couch. It looks like laughing over takeout with someone who reminds you that joy isn't optional. It's necessary. So why am I telling you this? Because I know if you are listening to this, you are a high performer. You get things done. You lead, you build, you succeed. However, you also overthink. You control. You play it safe. You feel guilty resting. And you chase joy like it's some future reward instead of something you're already allowed to feel. And if you keep attracting partners who seem more lighthearted than you, if you find yourself frustrated by people who are more carefree than you, if you feel emotionally safe but uncomfortable around someone who's deeply present, that might be your inner child asking for something different. Not more rules, not more control, not more achievement, but more play, more deep breaths, more softness. We don't need to earn joy. We just have to stop blocking it. I'm still in this work. I'm still unlearning. I still have moments where I choose the to-do list and become more rigid over soaking in the moment. But I'm catching it faster. I'm choosing differently. And every time I do, it feels like I'm handing my younger self the joy he never got to keep. So what I want to leave you with is this. What does joy look like in your life right now? Are you letting yourself have it, experience it? Or are you still treating happiness like a reward for some sort of good behavior that seemingly is just slightly out of reach always? As always, thank you for joining me for this episode of the Wolverine Lifestyle Podcast. If it resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with someone who needs the reminder that they are worthy of joy now, not someday, not when the work is done, not when they feel finally enough, right now. And if you're ready to take a step further into your own self-exploration journey, grab my free ebook, 30 Days to Know Yourself. The link will be in the show notes along with all of the rest of the links to the rest of my socials and resources. Until next time, remember, the younger you didn't need more discipline. They needed permission to play.